Hey, what's going on, guys? It's Greg Jones for Engine Builder. Today we are west of Atlanta in Dallas, Georgia, checking out Van Gilder Racing Engines. We're going to be talking with shop owner Jake Van Gilder. These guys are a bit of an old school machine shop, but they're doing some really cool stuff on LS, LT engines, a lot of domestic V8 stuff as well. And they're full machine shop, so they do some other machine work on different platforms too. They got some cool stuff in here, so let's go check it out. Come on.
No shortcuts, no substitutes, no compromises. Great racers and engine builders choose Driven Racing Oil.
All right, guys, so here we are inside Van Gilder Racing Engines. I'm joined by shop owner Jake Van Gilder. Jake.
Nice to meet you.
Yeah, pleasure meeting you as well. Thanks for giving us time to stop in and check this out.
Man. Heck yeah, I appreciate you guys coming and checking out the shop, man.
Got a nice sunny day here, here in Dallas, Georgia. So, Jake, before we walk around, showcase what you guys do, tell the folks a little bit about yourself and about the shop. How did you first get into this industry?
Okay, so realistically, I went to a NASCAR Tech in Mooresville, North Carolina.
Okay.
So I did their race engine program. I fell in love with engines. I feel like that was my bread and butter. So when I got out of NASCAR Tech, I actually started working for a machine shop locally, probably about 30 miles, due west of us. Okay. Just fell in love with it, and then throughout time, just started working on cylinder heads on my own, and kind of just started, started growing my business as I could on the side. And then one day I said, you know what, I'm gonna buy a surfacer, and then that's how the ball started rolling.
Yeah, started getting some
started doing a little bit more work than I probably should have in the beginning. But as we grew, we just kept buying more and more equipment. Started getting better clientele. Started being a vendor for a couple different companies that really helped us out growing wise. And then we just kind of developed ourselves into a larger operation over time. And actually now we're actually trying to buy new equipment. Go CNC so we can get out of the manual machine side of things, so we can just up pretty much our time, what I mean? Because we're moving blocks from this machine to that machine, so we're trying to make it more user-friendly, I guess you would say.
Yeah, so, very cool, trying to get that next level.
Yeah.
So, Jake, you mentioned you were in Mooresville, where you first kind of learned everything that you know. Was this always home though? Like in terms of
I'm
being in Georgia?
I'm actually from Hiram. I moved to Mooresville just for that school. Okay. I stayed there for a little bit longer than I probably should have, just because I love the place. I love the atmosphere.
Right.
I actually went through Ford FACT, which is a credential training program. So I was actually supposed to work on vehicles, but I was so obsessed with it. When I first moved back to Georgia, I worked at pretty much a dealership. And when everybody was on the Snap-on truck buying, ratchet sockets, I was trying to buy micrometers, dial bore gauges, and my boss came up to me one day and said, "Hey, you're in the wrong place, brother." So luckily, he's actually the one that got me on with Goza Auto Machine in Acworth, Georgia. So that was my first job as a machinist, but I was more of a cleanup guy. So that's where I started, man, and it just kind of snowballed from there.
Awesome.
Yep.
So Jake, tell the folks a little bit about your shop here in Dallas, Georgia. How long have you guys been here in this location?
So we've been in this location for 4 years. Van Gilder Racing Engines has been a business for about 7 years. Okay. We used to be in the other side of Dallas until we got this facility, and we've just been, like I said, kind of continuing to grow, and we're actually about to be at that next step to where we need more room.
Yeah.
I need help, I need room, so we're just trying to grow as we can without, putting I guess too many rocks in one, I don't know, just too much stuff going on, you know what I mean? So I'm only one person. I got my father, Richard Van Gilder.
Okay.
He's going through cancer right now, so it's kind of a battle between, trying to manage family time, health with him, and, running a shop by myself. So it's difficult, but we're making it happen, and we're making it work, man. We're glad to be here each and every day. He's awesome. Here, so, we're just going to keep rolling, man.
Very good. Well, Jake, lastly, before we start walking around, just tell the folks a little bit more. I mentioned that you specialize in the LS, LT type stuff, a lot of the domestic engine platforms.
Yep.
Anything else to add in terms of the work that you guys typically do?
So we're pretty much a full operational machine shop. We're not CNC yet. We just do you know, boring, decking, any type of milling. We do, you know, any mill work. We balance crankshafts. We hone. We do a lot of more of your mom and pa style engines more than your race engines. We do have some customers that we do work for that typically just race.
Yeah.
We try to get the local people the best product, bang for buck, on a timely manner. That's kind of what our businesses strive for. We're not out to be flamboyant or flashy and trying to get the best, biggest engine in the world, the fastest engine in the world. We're trying to get mom and pa back on the road to where they can continue to work and make a living for their household.
Yeah.
So that's about it. Yep.
Cool.
What if your honing oil provided more precise results in less time on a cleaner surface with less wear on your tools? Introducing the first premium honing oil formulated specifically for engine builders and professional machinists. Honing Oil 10 from Driven Racing Oil.
This is the best honing oil that I've had. The cylinders are cleaner. They look a lot better. Even when we get ready to assemble it, the cylinders are still clean. I really do like it.
For more information or to order Honing Oil 10 right now, visit drivenracingoil.com.
Well, Jake, I'm going to turn this over to you, let you kind of show us around, and
All right.
we'll follow and ask some questions as we go. So,
well, sounds good.
How many square feet do you guys have?
Actually, it's about 2,500 square foot roughly altogether, but the actual shop, I would say it's probably either half of that or a little bit less than half. We have a couple rooms that I'll show you guys, an engine room and like a front showroom. As you can see, we got a a limited late model car in here that we're trying to put a new body on, getting ready to probably showcase this here in a couple weeks to see what it can do. We're gonna shake it down, and we got a couple other cars that we work on throughout the weekends.
And this stuff just runs like a small block there?
Yeah, these are all conventional small block Chevrolet, iron-headed. It depends on what class you use, but all of our engines pretty much are the what they call steel-headed late models. So they're stock valve angle. They can't be, the heads can't be ported, intakes can't be ported. There's a couple different classes that you can run a steel head in, but around here locally, we run limited late model or steel head.
Okay. And you were saying that this is kind of a backup car to what you guys are typically running.
Yes, this is a backup car. We actually helped the Paige and Sam Seawright group. They're out of Douglasville in Oxford, Alabama. They actually just won at Talladega Short Track. They ran first and second Saturday night.
Nice.
They run different engines. They are all aluminum, 434s, 410s, stuff like that. They're super late model engines, so a little bit more flamboyant, like I said.
Yeah,
but
a little more robust.
But this is a backup car. We're just gonna shake it down. It's an older car. We kind of drug it out of the barn just to see what it would do, man. So we're gonna throw a body on it. We just pretty much swept the floor up and put a 400 small block Chevrolet in this just to see what we can kind of, we got to weigh the car out, scale it out. We're going to do some suspension upgrades, kind of just shake it down and see what it can do. I'm not a big dirt track racer, but I'm actually going to try to drive this myself. So hopefully, hopefully it won't beat up the first time I take it out. We'll see.
Well, cool. Well, good luck with that.
Yeah, as I walk through here, this is just a mill, just a regular old vertical mill. We have our, all of our balancing equipment is pretty much built into the mill. It's like a two-piece operation. Nice. Sometimes I'll fly cut heads on it. Sometimes I'll balance cranks. Sometimes I'll, notch blocks for, stroker clearancing, stuff like that.
Cool.
Nothing too fancy. Like I said, as we walk through here, pretty much we start our cleaning process, as it hits the door. So we'll take everything apart, outside or kind of by the door. We'll prep everything, try to get a good idea of what we got to do to it, and kind of start from there. We'll bring our blocks in or whatever, heads, whatever comes in. We'll run them through a couple different vats. We got a caustic and then a non-caustic vat, so we like to get as much oil and grime off of it first, and then we actually have an oven that's outside because it's so hot, you know, we don't want to steam up this place. We'll bake everything outside, then we'll bring it in and we'll put in this tumbler, what they call a shop peen.
Yep.
After we shop peen it, we'll either magnaflux it, we'll do everything just to kind of finalize the checkout process for the customer. The consumer will be told, hey, it needs bored, or hey, it needs cracked, and we kind of go from there.
Yeah.
After it gets shop peen and stuff like that, we'll either start the motion. We'll put it on this thing. This is the old Rottler F2 VB boring bar. This is actually my favorite piece of equipment in this shop.
Nice.
This came out of Mooresville, North Carolina, believe it or not.
Oh, very cool.
Yeah, it was it's for its age, it's actually in very good shape. So we're actually going to try to get a new Rottler F69 in here just so we can get out of the manual side of things. Just to, like I said, we can speed up our, our time frame as far as machining. We don't have to, put it on the crane, move it from here to the surfacer, back to the mill. I like to have everything done in one spot and then just move throughout the process from there. So once we get it out of the boring bar, we'll actually, if the consumer wants it decked, we try to deck everything, just because if our name's on it, I don't want you calling me saying, hey, I got a blown head gasket, or hey, I got this issue or this issue.
Right.
So we got this little machine right here. It actually used to be the old rock style cutter. We changed it over to CBN PCD cutter.
Okay.
I actually got this rollover fixture from Stefan at Ace Racing Engines. He helped us out with this product, so we got it to make it a little bit easier to manage cylinder heads. And if we got an angle mill intake for the dirt track guys, it's a little bit easier to use, friendly use.
Okay.
Nice. As you can see, I got engines everywhere. We're pretty busy.
Yeah, and
so
I'm noticing a couple of different. You got a diesel block down here. You got
a 2J.
2J there.
We do a couple 2Js for a gentleman. We're actually putting billet caps on one right now. This is his backup engine, so we'll have to O-ring. We'll put receiver grooves in the block. We'll O-ring the head. Titanium valve train. The guy does awesome stuff, and I'm shocked as an owner, as being an engine guy, as how much power the inline six stuff can make.
Definitely.
Another inline six, like you said, there's a Cummins block down there.
Yeah.
That's God, man, they're heavy, but they're just nice engines. They're pretty much, in my opinion, they're pretty much unbreakable.
Yeah, I mean, in terms of like stock cranks and stuff and the blocks, like these guys are putting thousands of horsepower to them.
Yeah, it's crazy. You're talking 2,000-3,000 foot-pounds of torque, which is just astronomical in my opinion. I mean, that's just mind-blowing. We got this Rottler, or Sonnen CV616. We still use it. One thing that I was pretty adamant about as I continued to grow is I started buying more and more torque plates. A lot of people in our area don't really necessarily believe in it. We plate every engine that comes through here, whether it's a Cummins or a FE Ford. It could be a 289 small block Ford. I mean, it could be a flat tappet. We torque plate every single engine that comes through here just for, security issues. So
Jake, just real quick. So you mentioned, people in this area, not everyone's using a torque plate. A lot of folks that we talk to, I mean, if they don't torque plate it, they're not going to do it. It's like you got a torque plate.
Yeah, you got a torque plate in today's world.
So do you want to talk about why some people might not be into it?
I don't know if it's just the sheer process of actually setting it up or the plate cost itself. I don't know why people don't. I think it's just an era thing. I think that, the younger crowd like me, got people like Stefan and stuff like that. We want the best result possible. When we go to the track, I want every single horsepower I can get.
Right.
Because guess what? Your competitor's probably doing it.
Yeah.
And if you're not doing it, you're not going to be running up front.
Sure.
We like to plate, like I said, every single engine, whether it's a 2J, 289, it could be a Nissan, it could be a, I don't know, it could be anything, but we plate everything.
Yeah.
It just keeps it concentric, true. The ring finishes everything. We're actually trying to study ring finishes now, or cylinder wall finishes, for different types of rings. We like studying that stuff. We actually are in the works of trying to get a profilometer and get a couple pieces of equipment to better help our understanding of where our finishes are.
Right.
We have a good idea with what they call a petrified stone. We're trying to convert over to a diamond stone. but I'm torn between either upgrading this machine or keeping it as a backup and getting a Rottler CNC.
Yeah.
Or,
Right.
it's just, that's what we'd like to go to. It just makes everything easier. So, I'm a pretty much one-man machinist, so I got to do all this stuff myself. So, the main reason why I want to convert everything to CNC is, say if I got a phone call or I got something else going on over here, I can run 2 different pieces of machinery at one time to help speed up, operations.
Totally.
We have a lot of customers, man. So my biggest thing is just time. Doing everything on a timely manner, getting the product in, getting the product out.
Right.
We try to help our local mom and pop shops first. That's our main priority, like I said, and then the racers and stuff kind of come in second. But yeah, that's pretty much it on the hone.
Cool. I appreciate the explanation.
Yeah,
on
the torque plates are everything, man. We love the torque plate everything. We actually run dual torque plates on all engines. So instead of having one torque plate, we'll run dual torque plates. We'll put the main studs in. We'll torque everything to spec. I was trying to figure out a way to hot hone blocks to where we can get running temperature of the cylinder to where we get better results at the end.
Yeah.
So that's another thing that we're kind of looking forward to doing as well.
Yeah.
We'll see how it happens. I don't know.
Yeah.
That's above me over there. That's an engineer question. So I have to get to that eventually. But yeah, man, we got we got a lot of stuff going right now. Like you said, 2Js, 1Js, small block Chevrolets, Fords, Cummins. A couple modular engines as well. We do pretty much everything, to be honest with you. As you can see, we do a lot of cylinder head up. A lot of cylinder head work. Yeah, that's pretty much our bread and butter. This is what I got going on from probably Wednesday to Friday as far as drop-offs go. So, throughout today and tomorrow, we'll be, soda blasting these, prepping them, checking them for cracks, doing valve jobs, and then we'll actually be, surfacing them, getting them ready to do final cleaning, and then they'll hit the assembly room, check spring pressure, and then go from there.
Cool.
Yeah.
Very
good. That's a cool deal, man.
So Jake, you mentioned you're doing a lot of the machine work yourself. How many engines will you guys get through in typical week, typical month? What's kind of the output of the shop?
All right, so right now, if I had to say engines going out, whether it be short block, long blocks, or just machine work, I'd say we're probably at 5 to 10 engines roughly per week.
Okay.
Whether it be, like I said, just machine work or if we're doing short blocks and so forth.
Yeah.
I got a couple engines I can show you guys that are kind of in the middle of the process right now. We have customers from all over, though. We got customers in Germany. We do a lot of Fords for a guy in Germany.
Oh, nice.
We got a couple customers in Virginia. We do a lot of stuff for a couple customers in Texas. So we do a lot of work for a lot of people that aren't even really around here as well. So I don't know how that works. It just happens like that, and we just let it roll, man.
Yeah, very good.
We're blessed to be kind of busy. So,
Very cool.
Yep.
All right, well, I'll let you continue here.
Cool deal, man. I'll show you guys a couple engines we got kind of in the works right now. So like I said, we do a lot of LS, a lot of LT engines. This customer is actually out of Virginia.
Okay.
This is a 408 cubic inch. It's got tool steel wrist pins, 250 wall. That's a very nice Gen 4 LS. That's a 408 inch.
Very nice.
This is kind of just your ma and pa stuff. This gentleman, he has a pickup truck. I think it's like a 2018 model or something like that. It's just a 5.3. Broke a couple ring glands in it. So what we did, we just bored and honed, obviously torque plate. And as you can tell, like I said, I love to deck everything.
Yeah.
I'm a huge believer in fresh decks, especially aluminum blocks as they dissipate heat. As you're pulling heads off, it's just, when this product leaves my building, I don't want you to call me and say, hey, I got a blown head gasket, or hey, I wish we would have surfaced the heads or something like that. So we try to require all decking up front. So as you can see, this is just a LT53, got a LS408. There's an LT4 over there in the corner.
Okay.
We actually have a unicorn engine. It's a 462 cubic inch Ford where the combustion chamber is built into the block, not the head. It's set up like a diesel. So that's a pretty cool piece we got up there.
Did you want to show that one real fast?
It's up to you, man. It's actually, we're kind of in the middle of just, measuring everything, trying to get the combustion chamber volume and you know, stuff like that. But it's not the prettiest, but, you know, as we go through the process, we'll be able to kind of, you know, get it all. So as you can see, the chamber is actually in the block, kind of like a 409 Chevrolet or, you know, something like that. This is kind of one of the unicorns I got in here right now, what I'd call a dinosaur, really.
Sure.
Parts are not readily available for this thing, so, you know, we're kind of in that process of waiting for some stuff.
Yeah.
This is my father, Richard Van Gilder. He's my main.
Hi, Richard.
He's my sidekick. He's my help man. He's the guy that pretty much manages the build room. He does final cleaning, prepping, stuff like that. You know, file rings. He'll put the rods on the pistons, do all my final measuring for me, so I can do all the dirty work. You know, so he likes to have fun back here.
Yeah.
Thank God I have him, because if I didn't have him, man, I'd be so behind. I mean, I would be just...
Yeah, it's tough to do all of it.
Yeah, it would be a nightmare. Between phone calls, emails, machining, it's just, it's a very hard job. And a lot of people don't understand that, you know, machining, it takes time. You can't just throw it in a machine and walk away. You have to be dead on the number, because if you're not, guess what? It's coming back, and you may have, you know, mad customer or whatever the case may be. So it's got to be right, and it's just, unfortunately, it just takes time.
Sure.
So.
Sure, definitely.
Yep.
Very good.
Heck yeah, man. This is just kind of our small little build room. I do all my cylinder heads and all my measuring through this table right here. This is kind of our derby table, prep table.
Yeah, right over here.
And then we'll final wash everything, and then come in here and, you know, kind of start assembly. We got a couple LSs in the works out there that we walked past.
Nice.
The 2Js we're probably going to start working on this week, so that'll be a cool adventure. Yeah, and then I got some pretty cool engines I can show you up front if you'd like to see.
Sounds good. Yeah, we can go up there. Yeah.
Cool. So right now we got a couple engines that we're, you know, finalizing and getting ready to leave. We got an LT4 with some CNC heads, titanium valve train, brand new, pretty much brand new everything. Forged rods, forged pistons, LT4 blower. This is another Gen 5 L83, has a forged piston set up, ready to go for a customer. That's twin turbo and a Silverado, I believe. So that's getting ready to go here.
Very cool.
My prize piece up front today is probably going to be this. This is a 427 cubic inch Dart LS. It has a F710 set of Frankenstein heads.
Yeah.
I'm a big believer in their cylinder heads.
Yeah, they got some cool stuff.
Yeah, they got definitely some cool stuff.
Yeah.
I love how everything's dovetail O-ring. It's very easy to use, track friendly.
Yeah.
You can pop the valve covers off. You can, you know, it's very simple. You know, there's no gaskets. You just worry about a dovetail.
Yeah.
This is actually going to be a nitrous fed. I think he's going to run 2 different systems on it. I think a 300 and then maybe a 200 if I'm not mistaken.
Okay.
So this is going to be the biggest animal we got in the stable today as of right now.
Well,
so,
it sounds like there might be more details coming for an Engine of the Week episode.
Yeah, heck yeah,
on this
man.
guy. So.
That'd be nice, man. That'd be very
Very
nice.
cool.
This is a cool piece right here. This is probably my favorite piece in our facility right now for sure.
Awesome. Awesome. Now
but
you're doing
heck
some
yeah.
cool stuff.
Heck yeah, man. We stay busy.
Yeah.
We stay busy for sure. We're always a little bit behind, a little bit more than we'd like to be. But like I said, we do everything we can.
Yeah.
Yeah, that's
Awesome.
That's pretty much it, man.
All right, guys. Well, that does it for this episode of Shop Takeover. Jake, just want to say thanks for giving us some of your time today to show us Van Gilder Racing Engines. Really cool stuff that you guys have going on here, and especially just you and your dad churning all this stuff out.
Yep.
Really neat to see. And
Heck yeah, I appreciate you guys coming.
you know, we talked a little bit about those next steps for the shop and some additional machinery, maybe even a bigger space. So that's exciting to hear that you guys are looking into that type of stuff. So that's awesome. So
Sounds
guys, if you have any questions for Jake or you want to know more about Van Gilder Racing Engines, make sure you leave that stuff down in the comments and we'll be sure to pass it on. But again, we appreciate you guys watching this episode of Shop Takeover. Make sure you're checking out enginebuildermag.com for more great engine content. We'll see you guys next time.